Welcome back today. We're counting down the top 10 most valuable wheat pennies that could be hiding in your collection. These iconic coins from the early 20th century have skyrocketed in value over the years, and some of them are worth far more than you'd expect. Stick around to find out which wheat pennies could make you a fortune. First, up the 1938 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny is an important piece in the history of American coinage. This coin marks the last year of the wheat design, which had been in circulation since 1909. By the time the 1938 penny was struck, the nation was still recovering from the Great Depression, a period that had profoundly impacted the economy and, by extension, the coinage industry. The penny itself was primarily used by the working class, which makes this coin's role even more significant during that challenging time. The 1938 penny has become highly collectible due to the design's historical value. Being one of the final issues before the design change in 1959, the coin's composition was 95 copper and 5 tin and zinc, consistent with previous years. Its striking was overseen by the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The obverse of the 1938 wheat penny features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln is depicted in a right-facing bust, his distinctive beard visible, with the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" surrounding him. The reverse, back, showcases two sheaves of wheat flanking the words United States of America with a pluribus unum above and the denomination 1 cent at the bottom. The D Mint mark on the 1938 coin signifies that it was struck at the Denver Mint, which can be found just below the date. Coins from this mint are often valued higher than those from other mints due to lower mintage numbers, particularly in well-circulated or higher-condition coins. The 1938 penny, with the D Mint mark, has a total mintage of 434,510,000 coins. While this number might seem high, it's worth noting that coins from the early 20th century are often highly collectible, and condition is key to their value. In circulated condition, this coin typically sells for between $20,000, however. If you can find one in uncirculated or near mint condition, it can easily fetch $30,000 at auction, with higher values possible depending on the specific grade. Collectors are always on the lookout for error coins, and the 1938 penny is no exception. Some rare varieties of this coin have been identified with slight misstrikes, double dies, or even interesting toning variations. These error coins can command a much higher price at auction. Additionally, coins in well-preserved circulated condition, especially those with a nice luster, are highly prized. Interest in Lincoln wheat pennies in general has been sustained over the years due to their design, historical significance, and the connection to one of America's most iconic presidents. The 1938 penny remains a valuable addition to any collection, especially for those looking to own a piece of American history. Next up, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most recognized coins in American numismatic history. It was struck during the height of World War I, a time when the U.S. economy was heavily focused on supporting the war effort. By 1944, copper was a crucial material needed for ammunition production, so the U.S. Mint had to strike pennies using a steel planchet coated in zinc, temporarily abandoning the traditional copper-based alloy. However, the 1944 penny is notable because by the end of the war, the mint returned to using copper for regular production. This coin, minted in 1944, was produced in both copper and the zinc-coated steel variety, making it a critical piece for collectors who specialize in wartime issues. The coin was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, with the Denver Mint mark D signifying that it was struck in that city. The design of the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny is identical to earlier years, retaining Brenner's portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the familiar wheat sheaves on the reverse. The D Mint mark is located just below the date, which in this case is 1944. The coin's composition in copper, a critical wartime material, adds historical significance to the piece. As with the 1938 penny, the reverse design features a pluribus unum above the wheat stalks, and United States of America with 1 cent at the bottom. The 1944 penny with a D mint mark had a mintage of approximately 430 million coins. While this is a relatively large number, coins in fine condition or better are considered desirable due to their clean strike and legibility. In fine condition, the 1944 D penny typically trades between $100,000s, however. Higher grade examples in extremely fine or uncirculated condition can fetch much higher prices, ranging from $89,000 or more at auctions. The historical context and wartime production make this coin even more desirable to collectors, and those in pristine condition, especially those with distinctive toning or interesting patterns, can drive prices even higher. As with all coins, the 1944 penny has its share of error varieties, including double dies and off-center strikes. Errors, particularly on the 1944 D penny, can drastically increase the value of the coin. For example, a double die error can significantly increase the worth of the coin, sometimes selling for thousands of dollars depending on the severity of the error and condition. Collectors of World War II era coins are especially interested in the 1944 penny, as it represents an essential piece of American history, connecting the nation's wartime effort with its domestic coinage. This factor, along with the relatively large mintage, makes the 1944 penny with AD mint mark a highly sought-after coin. Next up, the 1954 Lincoln wheat cent is one of the most sought-after coins for collectors, particularly those with the large date variety and the S mint mark version. This coin stands out not only for its historical context, but also for its unique design and significant mintage. Let's explore what makes this coin so highly prized among collectors. The Lincoln wheat cent was introduced in 1909, designed by Victor David Brenner, to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The reverse design, showing 2 stalks of wheat, is where the coin gets its famous wheat nickname. The coin remained in production until 1958, with several variations released each year. The 1954 issue is particularly interesting because it marks the final years of production for the wheat cent before the switch to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. In 1954, the coin was produced during a time when the U.S. was coming out of World War II and the economy was stabilizing. It was a period of industrial growth and population expansion, and coins like the 1954 wheat cent were used in the everyday transactions of millions of Americans. The 1954 Lincoln wheat cent features a left-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, with the date 1954 and the mint mark S to the right of the year. The reverse features 2 stalks of wheat symbolizing America's agricultural heritage, with the words E pluribus unum and 1 cent above and below the stalks. The overall design is simple yet iconic, representing a pivotal era in American history. The coin's large date variety, characterized by its larger numbers in the date, is a distinct feature that collectors look for. While the coin's design remained consistent, the difference in the size of the digits in the year 1954 is what sets this variety apart. The large date coins, particularly those from the San Francisco Mint, were produced in limited numbers, contributing to their rarity and desirability today. In total, 433 million 1954 wheat cents were minted across all facilities. However, it's important to note that only a small percentage of these coins were produced with the large date variety and the S mint mark. According to mintage records, the 1954 S wheat cent is relatively rare compared to its Philadelphia counterpart. This rarity, combined with its historical significance, is a major factor in its high market value. The 1954 Lincoln wheat cent with an S mint mark in fine condition can fetch a price between $77,000, depending on factors such as the specific auction environment and the coin's individual characteristics, including luster and centering. While this may not seem like a massive value compared to other coins, the price can soar dramatically when the coin is in higher grades like very fine, where it can approach $100,000 for collectors looking for pristine examples, especially those that have been certified by a grading agency like the CGs or NC. The value can exceed $50 in top-tier grades. There are a few error varieties within the 1954 wheat cent series, with notable examples including misstrikes and off-center coins. These errors, though rare, can drive the value of a coin to much higher levels. Collectors and investors looking for these error coins often see them as unique finds that set their collection apart. The 1954 RARE coins are among the most highly prized for their scarcity. The collector interest in this coin is enormous. Collectors are drawn not only to the historical significance, but also to the fact that the 1954 wheat cent marks the end of the wheat cent era. As the U.S. government transitioned to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959 coins, like the 1954, large date are viewed as a snapshot of a changing era in U.S. numismatics. Next up, we have the 1942 Lincoln wheat cent, which stands as one of the most valuable coins in the wheat cent series. This coin, produced without a mint mark, holds a special place in American coinage history. Let's dive into the details. The 1942 Lincoln wheat cent was struck in the midst of World War I, a period that deeply impacted the production of U.S. coins. This was a time when materials like copper were in high demand for the war effort, leading to changes in coinage production and materials used. The 1942 wheat cent was composed of copper and tin, continuing the tradition of the earlier wheat cents, and featured a design that symbolized America's unity during challenging times. During the war, coin production was limited due to wartime restrictions, making coins like the 1942 1 cent particularly scarce. The fact that it was produced without a mint mark, typically indicating Philadelphia minting, adds an element of intrigue to the coin. The 1942 Lincoln wheat cent features the same classic design as other coins in the series. A portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse. The obverse legend reads "In God we trust," and the reverse features the words "E plurius unum" and 1 cent. The absence of a mint mark on this coin, which typically indicates it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, makes it highly desirable to collectors. Coins without mint marks are often more difficult to find, especially those in fine condition. The crispness of the wheat stalks and the prominence of Lincoln's portrait contribute to the coin's appeal. In 1942, the Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 1.1 billion Lincoln wheat cents, but a large portion of those were struck with the D mint mark Denver, or S mint mark, San Francisco making the Philadelphia coins even more collectible due to their relative rarity. The 1942 without mint mark coin is sought after because of the difficulty in finding high-grade examples. The 1942 Lincoln wheat cent in fine condition typically trades for about $345,000 at auction, but like most coins, the value increases with better grades. A very fine 1942 wheat cent can command a price closer to $300,000, depending on the demand at a given time. For coins that have been certified by grading agencies, the value can reach over $300,000 for higher graded specimens. The 1942 wheat cent also has a few error types that are of interest to collectors. Among the most famous errors for this year is the overdate variety, where the last digit of the year may appear over the 1 or 2, creating a distinct visual feature. These error coins are rare and, if found, can fetch a premium price in the market. The collector interest in the 1942 wheat cent is considerable. With its connection to World War I and the historical significance of the Lincoln portrait, it draws the attention of both history enthusiasts and coin collectors. The coin also appeals to those looking for an example of a coin minted during a time of national struggle and economic uncertainty. Next up, the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny stands as a highly intriguing coin within the realm of American numismatics, particularly when it comes to the large date variety without a mint mark. As one of the iconic wheat ears, pennies, the 1939 coin reflects a period in U.S. history that was marked by significant economic recovery after the Great Depression. In the late 1930s, America was still feeling the effects of the economic turmoil that had plagued the nation. But by 1939, there were signs of recovery as industries began to bounce back. The year 1939 was notable for its historical events, with the onset of World War II looming over global politics. On the coinage front, the Lincoln wheat penny design, created by famed engraver Victor David Brenner, continued to be in circulation since 1909. This design, with its wheat stalks on either side of the reverse, symbolized America's agricultural strength and prosperity during the early 20th century. The 1939 large-date Lincoln wheat penny showcases the distinctive features that make these coins so recognizable to collectors. On the obverse, the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing right, is framed by the inscription Liberty and the year of issue 1939 above his head. The phrase "In God We Trust" is also visible. The reverse of the coin features 2 ears of wheat encircling the words 1 cent with United States of America and E pluribus unum inscribed along the rim. As one of the more straightforward designs in U.S. numismatics, the Lincoln wheat penny has remained a symbol of both the nation's history and its coinage evolution. For the 1939 version, the large date variety is characterized by the larger numerals in the year, which makes it distinguishable from other pennies of the time. The 1939 Lincoln wheat penny was produced in large quantities with a total mintage of around 600 million coins. Despite the large production, this specific variety, the 1939 large date without a mint mark, has become highly sought after by collectors, particularly due to its relatively low survival rate in higher grades. The absence of a mint mark on these coins indicates that they were minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced most of the nation's coinage at the time. The value of a 1939 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark can vary significantly based on its condition. A coin in good condition typically fetches between $10,000 at auction, with higher prices being paid for well-preserved specimens. However, this value can increase dramatically if the coin is certified in higher grades, such as fine or extremely fine, where it may be valued between $15,000 at the top end of the spectrum. A well-maintained coin can sell for $20,000 or more, though these tend to be rare. While the 1939 Lincoln penny is not particularly famous for significant minting errors, the large date variety itself is highly prized for its subtle distinction from the standard 1939 penny. The primary collector interest in this coin stems from its historical significance, design, and the general interest in Lincoln wheat pennies. This coin has a steady following due to the scarcity of high-grade specimens, which increases its market value. Next up, the 1958, a time when the United States was deeply entrenched in the post-World War IE era, and the country was entering the atomic age. The 1950s was a decade of unprecedented growth and optimism in the U.S., both economically and technologically. This era saw the rise of suburban living, television becoming mainstream, and the development of the civil rights movement. The 1958 Lincoln wheat penny, with its large date and demint mark, reflects the American spirit of the time. The coin was minted at the Denver Mint, one of the primary facilities for U.S. coin production. While the design of the Lincoln wheat penny had been unchanged for nearly half a century, this 1958 coin marked the end of an era for the series. Just 2 years later, in 1959, the iconic Lincoln Memorial design would replace the wheat ears reverse. Like all Lincoln wheat pennies, the 1958 features the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln by Victor David Brenner on the obverse, with the word "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" clearly visible. The reverse shows 2 ears of wheat surrounding the inscription 1 cent with United States of America and the motto E pluribus unum. What sets the 1958 version apart is the large date variety, where the numerals in the year are noticeably larger than on earlier pennies. This large date variety is paired with the Denver Mint's deep mint mark, signifying that these coins were struck in Denver, Colorado, rather than at the Philadelphia Mint. The mintage of the 1958 Lincoln wheat penny, with the large date and demint mark, was substantial, with over 1 billion coins struck at the Denver Mint. Despite the high mintage, the 1958 penny is considered one of the more valuable coins in the Lincoln wheat penny series due to the relative scarcity of well-preserved examples, particularly in higher grades. In circulated condition, a 1958 Lincoln wheat penny with the D-mint mark generally holds a value between $46,000 depending on the grade. However, coins in higher grades, such as extra fine or uncirculated, can see their values increase to $50,000 or more. The higher the grade, the more substantial the price. This particular coin holds consistent value in the market due to its status as one of the last wheat pennies ever minted. Though the 1958 Lincoln wheat penny doesn't boast prominent errors, it is often the subject of collector interest due to its large date and Denver Mint origin. Collectors are drawn to this coin for its historical context and as a key piece in the end of the Lincoln wheat penny series. The coin's interest also lies in its relatively high mintage and its role in the transition to the memorial design. Next up, the 1934 Abraham Wheat 1-cent coin, known for its classic wheat design, is part of a series struck from 1909 to 1958. The coin features the profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. The 1934 wheat penny is a significant year within the series, and despite its relatively high mintage, it has become a key piece in many collections, especially when it comes to coins in circulated condition. The 1934 penny was minted during the Great Depression, a time when the U.S. economy was in severe turmoil. The penny itself, however, was crucial for everyday transactions. Due to the high demand for small denominations during the economic crisis, the mint produced millions of these coins, but despite the large number struck, certain versions of the 1934 Lincoln penny have become valuable over time. The 1934 Lincoln wheat penny displays a detailed portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, with the inscription "In God We Trust" above and "Liberty" to the left, along with the date 1934 to the right. The reverse side features two wheat stalks, flanking the words "E pluribus unum" and the inscription "United States of America" above, with the denomination 1 cent centered at the bottom. The design of the Lincoln penny was changed from the wheat design to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959, but the wheat design remains one of the most beloved in coin history. The 1934 penny is part of the final years of this series, making it highly sought after by collectors. The 1934 Lincoln wheat penny was produced in large numbers, with over 500 million coins minted across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. However, despite its high mintage, certain factors like the coin's condition, its historical context, and collector demand can greatly influence its market value. In circulated condition, the 1934 penny is valued at around $92,000, depending on the state of preservation. However, certain rare variations, such as those with minor minting errors or in exceptional condition, can command higher prices at auction. While the 1934 penny itself is not known for widespread minting errors, there are instances where die errors and minor misprints make certain coins more valuable. Coins with double dies, off-center strikes, or blemished dies are particularly interesting to collectors who are willing to pay a premium for these rarities. The interest in circulated condition coins primarily lies in their historical value. Since these coins were in circulation for decades, many were heavily worn, and the ones that remain in relatively good condition are especially prized. The 1934 wheat penny has become a symbol of the Great Depression era, making it a must-have for collectors who focus on U.S.matics, history through numismatics. In today's auction market, a 1934 Lincoln wheat penny in circulated condition could fetch anywhere between $99,000, depending on factors like the coin's wear, tarnishing, and overall appeal. Premium prices can be seen for those with die errors or coins with higher grades that fall into the fine to very fine categories. Next up, the 1920 Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most historically significant coins in the Lincoln series. Struck during the aftermath of World War I, this coin emerged during a period of relative economic prosperity in the U.S. As the nation rebounded from the war, the penny became more critical today commerce. The 1920 Lincoln penny is part of a large production run in the early 1920s, and while it is not as rare as other years from the 1910s, it still holds great value due to its age and the condition in which it has survived. The coin was minted in Philadelphia, as it carries no mint mark indicating that it was struck at the main mint. Much like the 1934 penny, the 1920 Lincoln wheat penny features the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The coin also has the same reverse design, with two stalks of wheat framing the words 1 cent. The inscriptions "United States of America" and "E pluribus unum" appear above and below the wheat stalks. respectively. What makes the 1920 penny stand out is its age and the dark-colored circulated condition that many of these coins are found in. Over time, these pennies have accumulated wear and oxidation, contributing to their darker shades, especially when compared to pennies from later years. The 1920 Lincoln penny was minted in large numbers with over 300 million coins produced. Despite the high mintage, finding one in circulated condition with minimal wear can still be quite challenging. In dark color circulated condition, the coin may show a considerable amount of tarnish, giving it a distinctive appearance that appeals to certain collectors. In today's market, the value of a 1920 Lincoln wheat penny in circulated condition can range from $64,000 depending on how much wear the coin has sustained. If the coin features significant wear or discoloration, the value may be closer to the lower end of the spectrum. However, for coins with clean surfaces, even in circulated condition, the price can rise significantly. The 1920 Lincoln penny is well regarded for the die variety errors that exist. Some coins have double dies, particularly on the Liberty inscription, which increases their value among collectors. Additionally, coins with off-center strikes or slight planchet errors can command a premium price at auction. For collectors focused on U.S. history and wartime numismatics, the 1920 penny is a gem, as it offers a glimpse into the world after the First World War. The combination of its historical significance and the market for era coins makes this penny particularly desirable in today's auction scene. In dark-colored circulated condition, collectors value the 1920 Lincoln wheat penny, not only for its rarity and good condition, but also for its connection to an important moment in history. A 1920 penny with minimal wear can fetch anywhere from $66,000 depending on the overall appearance and collector demand at the time of auction. Next up, the 1948 Lincoln wheat cent is part of the famous Lincoln wheat series, which was struck from 1909 to 1958. This coin was minted during a post-war period in America, a time of rebuilding and economic growth. The U.S. economy was recovering from the Great Depression and gearing up for the post-war boom. 1948 itself was a pivotal year for American industry, as wartime production shifted to peacetime manufacturing. This particular year of the wheat cent remains a fascinating example of the American spirit during this era. The Lincoln wheat cent's design, created by Victor David Brenner, was first introduced in 1909 and became an iconic representation of the nation's strength and unity. The coin's obverse depicts a right-facing profile of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, while the reverse features 2 stalks of wheat and the inscription E pluribus unum, symbolizing unity. The coin's design remained largely unchanged throughout its production, making the 1948 version a continuation of a rich tradition of American coinage. However, the lack of a mint mark on the 1948 cent, which is typically an indicator of where the coin was minted, does make it somewhat distinctive when compared to other coins of the same year. The 1948 Lincoln wheat cent features the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, with the inscription Liberty and the date 1948. The reverse displays the 2 stalks of wheat, which have been synonymous with this series since its inception. The phrase United States of America appears above. The wheat stalks, with a pluribus unum inscribed below. On the bottom is the denomination 1 cent. What sets this coin apart, though, is the large date variation, which is often identified by the size and spacing of the numbers in the year 1948. Collectors pay special attention to these minor variations, as they can have a significant impact on a coin's value. In particular, a coin in dirty condition, which refers to a coin that has not been well preserved, possibly with visible dirt, tarnish, or even corrosion, can still have great value depending on its rarity and collector demand. The mintage of the 1948 Philadelphia cent, no mint mark, was approximately 434 million coins. Despite its high mintage, the coin is still highly sought after by collectors due to its age, historical significance, and the fact that well-preserved examples are harder to find today. Though the 1948 Lincoln wheat cent has a relatively high mintage, its market value can fluctuate significantly based on its condition, errors, and collector interest. In the case of a coin in dirty condition, the value can still reach a substantial amount, though typically less than a coin in mint state condition. As of today, a 1948 Lincoln wheat cent in low-grade condition, such as the dirty variety, might fetch anywhere between $9,400 in auctions, depending on its specific wear and tear. However, if a coin like this were to be graded by a professional grading service and identified as having unique characteristics or errors, it could easily see a significant increase in its value. Collectors are particularly interested in coins with historical significance, and the 1948 Lincoln wheat cent is no exception. Even in dirty condition, this coin can command high prices if the provenance is clear, or if it has other desirable features such as a rare error. While the 1948 Lincoln wheat cent does not have as many widely known errors as some other years in the series, collectors still pay attention to any discrepancies in the design or manufacturing process. Any coins that were misstruck, double-struck, or have other minting errors such as offset or strikes are considered valuable and can fetch high prices. Additionally, dirty or tarnished coins, although not the most desirable to some collectors, may still attract niche interest from those looking to complete sets or looking for coins in unique conditions. The history behind each coin can often matter more than the condition itself, especially for those who enjoy owning pieces of U.S. currency that carry stories. Thanks for watching. Happy collecting.